Part 16. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womang. Chapter 151. No, I was already obvious enough. Although I didn't want to appear too familiar, I didn't even cover my figure and just walked towards him openly. There were no other pedestrians around to distract me. How could he not see me? Or he saw me but ignored me? How could this be? I'm so pissed off. Could it be that Master is just playing around with me? No, we can't just let Master go. Thinking in her mind, Wan Qing chased after him decisively, but did not show up, only observing Suliang secretly. Seeing Suliang and Qin Binjao getting along, talking, laughing, and extremely intimate, the two of them kept holding hands together, and even bought some street snacks and ate them together. So envious. Pursing her red lips, Wan Qing felt envious but also a little resentful in her heart. Could it be that, in this life, I am really too late? Was the position next to him just taken by someone first? But, the master from thousands of years ago obviously spent many years conquering it before he succeeded. And the Suliang in front of him was just a young boy. How long had it taken him to understand love before he was taken down by someone like this? The master in this life seems to be quite carefree. I know this girl is pretty and has a decent personality, but don't you know how to refuse her? Suddenly, Wan Qing remembered again that Tan Kinja, the sect leader who was still in Tiandao sect. Tan Kinja and Qin Binjao in front of her seemed to be master and disciple, right? So, it seems that Suliang is the master and apprentice together? Obviously, the relationship between the two of them is very unusual with Suliang. No, what did Suliang learn? Isn't this too good at playing? And most importantly, regardless of whether Suliang knew how to play or not, why did he think of provoking Tan Kinja? And that girl Tan Kinja, who had closed her heart for a long time, just fell in love with him. Tisk, in this case, given the relationship between Tan Kinja and herself, this will make it very difficult for herself. Thinking of this, Wan Qing felt a little headache, and for a moment, she didn't know what to do. But I have made a 1,000-year agreement with my master. No matter what, I should abide by it and never want to give up, right? So, after a 1,000-year promise, at that time, neither Qin Binjao nor Tan Kinja had even been born. There was no doubt that she was the one who came first. So, I will never give up. Thinking in her mind, Wan Qing pouted her lips slightly, unintentionally showing a hint of naivete and playfulness. And such a girlish posture would only appear on her face for a brief moment when it was related to that person. And just then, a figure of a royal sister wrapped in a black robe suddenly appeared behind Wan Qing, saluted and said, "Master, my subordinates have been paying attention to the traces of Taoist Mobian these days. Now, there are some traces result. This person is none other than Shadow Guard." Oh. Wan Qing turned her head, non-committal, not caring about the matter at all. "Tell me about it." "Yes." The Shadow Guard saluted again and said respectfully, "My subordinates found out that Daozai's target seems to be the nearby Tiandao section." Tiandao sect? Don't you want to take action against Tiandao sect? After hearing this, Wan Qing's eyes were full of amazement. Gee, interesting, really interesting. Perhaps, his named apprentice will be of great help to him. Time passed, and soon it was Tan Kinja's birthday. Get up early in the morning. Sitting alone in front of the dressing table, Tan Kinja combed her hair, dressed up, and looked in the mirror. Her appearance, which had not changed at all when she was mature and seductive, suddenly sighed, very melancholy, "Oh, it's another birthday, I am 1 year older." The words fell. Tan Kinja hurriedly covered her mouth, then looked around and saw that the door was closed and no one was around, So she breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, no one heard what he said. Fortunately, it's my birthday and I'm 1 year older. It's better not to let others know. Tan Kinja didn't care what other people thought of her. But Aoyang, will you dislike yourself because of this? Although my appearance is indeed very well maintained, and because of my advanced cultivation, it is impossible to show anything, but after all, she is still a bit older than Aoyang, not as good as Yao and Aoyang in age, right? Thinking in his heart, Tan Kinja, the leader of the Tiandao sect who dared to fight alone in the immortal realm and a powerful enemy at the peak of dragon transformation, was a little worried about gains and losses at this moment. He raised his head again and looked into the mirror. I saw. The face in the mirror has white and flawless skin, exquisite three-dimensional facial features, red lips and white teeth, sparkling eyes, and a hint of charm between the eyebrows and eyes, which is completely natural. A perfect face. And just then, dong dong. There was a sudden knock on the door, and then Suliang's voice sounded outside, "Sister, are you in the room?" Liang? Tan Kinja was stunned, quickly put down the things in her hands, stood up and opened the door, looking at Suliang and his apprentice with a smile on their faces. "Why do you think of your sister here so early in the morning? You shouldn't be here now, are you sleeping in?" Hey. Suliang smiled awkwardly. Normally, at this time, he would indeed be sleeping in with his girlfriend. After all, young people know the taste of food and are full of energy. They don't know how long they will practice at night, so naturally they can't get up so early the next day. Seeing Tan Kinja's slightly wrong expression, Suliang quickly said, "Isn't today my sister's birthday? How can I, the younger brother, and Yao, my apprentice, forget such an important day? Congratulations, sister, happy birthday." Hearing this, Tan Kinja felt a little surprised and subconsciously asked, "Do you know my birthday?" Before Suliang could say anything, Qin Binjao proudly claimed the credit. "Of course Suliang doesn't know, but how can I forget my disciple? After all, Master's birthday is celebrated by the disciple and Master together every year. Counting their ages, today is also the Master's." Before she finished speaking, Tan Kinja stepped forward and decisively covered her disciple's mouth. How could this rebellious disciple almost reveal his age as a master? How could Liang know this? I still need 200 or 300 votes to rush forward. Dozens of big bosses will come and raise their hands. Volume 1 Chapter 144 Beautiful Woman in Black Stockings, Party Collapse March. Yao. While covering her apprentice's mouth, facing his puzzled gaze, Tan Kinja said earnestly, "You have to know that a woman's age is a secret and cannot be revealed casually." However, faced with Tan Kinja's sincere teachings, Qin Binjao was very puzzled. She widened her eyes and said with a silly look, "Master, my disciple doesn't understand very well. My disciple feels that if someone asks about his age, he should tell him honestly. Just like my disciple, I never shy away from telling others my age. I am not one of those old ladies, so why should I hide it?" Hiss. Hearing this, Tan Kinja immediately wanted to take a breath of air. "You traitor, do you know what you are talking about? The teacher is also unwilling to tell his age. Doesn't your words imply that the teacher is older? Oops, you rebellious disciple, my master wants to expel you from the school." Tan Kinja was going crazy because of her disciple's words. She was very unhappy. She decisively touched her disciple's head with a dangerous smile on her face and educated her, "Yao, you are still young. These people are not so sophisticated in the world, it's normal to understand. Since my teacher has taught you, just listen carefully. Moreover, you are young, have little experience, and your personality is not calm enough. Although my teacher is older than you, you have experienced the world and accumulated time, so you will naturally become likable. No. Qin Benjao retorted, "Humph, master, I won't talk about others, but my Sulang really likes his disciples' liveliness and cuteness." Tan Kinja's hand touching her apprentice's head seemed to move faster and with more force. "Oh, how do you know that Liang doesn't like being a gentle and caring person like me?" Suliang, who was on the side, looked confused as he looked at the two people who were fighting for no reason. "What are you doing? Is this the beginning of a master-disciple fight for favor? Come on, why is it that this makes me so happy?" At this moment, Suliang wanted to step forward and stand between the two of them. "Stop fighting." After some overt and covert fighting, the master and the apprentice finally stopped temporarily relying on Suliang. As for the annual birthday, even if Tan Kinja didn't want to organize it, Suliang and Qin Benjao didn't agree. Even if there are only 3 people, Suliang still wants to organize a birthday party for Tan Kinja. Then, the 3 people who had made their decision quickly got busy preparing for the birthday party and began to decorate the room. Not long after, the room was decorated with festive colors, and it seemed to have the atmosphere of a birthday party. Looking at the festive furnishings in the room, Tan Kinja and Qin Benjao felt very happy. Compared with the birthdays in previous years, although there is only one more Suliang now, but the two of them just felt that this birthday party was much more lively and happy. "It is precisely because of him that I am not alone, I laugh all day long, and I finally have the feeling and appearance of a home here. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator." Author, Fangzone Womang. Chapter 152. Thinking in their hearts, Qin Benjao and Tan Kinja looked at Suliang in each other's eyes, and their smiles were full of deep meaning. However, it was the smiles between the two of them that made Suliang feel even more sinful. Beauty's grace is the hardest thing to endure, especially when there are 2 of them beside you, who are still masters and disciples. What's more important is that his girlfriend doesn't know the relationship between her master and herself. Ahem. Suliang coughed lightly, quickly adjusted the atmosphere, and changed the topic. "We are finally ready, Benjao, don't you have something to give to your master? If you don't take it out now, when will you wait?" "Yes." Qin Benjao blinked, as if she had just remembered the gift she had prepared, so she hurriedly took out a box and handed it to Tan Kinja. Master, these are the clothes Sulang and I designed for you. You take a look, do you like it?" Yao actually remembered to give the master a gift, which is really thoughtful. Tan Kinja nodded happily, took the box containing the clothes, opened the box, and took a look at it. The smile on her face instantly solidified. Slowly, a look of suspicion appeared on her face. In the box, a slim skirt above the knee, a white shirt, a professional jacket. These things, in her opinion, can be said to be quite strange. After looking at his apprentice and then at Suliang, Tan Kinja was slightly doubtful about the design of this outfit. But at this moment, Qin Benjao continued, Master, please put it on and take a look." Hearing this and looking at her apprentice's earnest eyes, Tan Kinja couldn't stand the look of her apprentice, so she finally nodded, "Okay, you two wait here, I'll try it on." Then, after a while, Tan Kinja, who had changed her clothes, appeared again. See. Tan Kinja black silk with close-fitting shirt and jacket, highlight the magnificence of the pair of proud peaks, tightly wrapped, the shape is even more beautiful. As for her lower body, the slim-fitting short skirt above the knees made her legs close together, and wrapped in black silk, her plump and beautiful legs looked even more restrained. Coupled with Tan Kinja's beautiful face, her cheeks are flushed, the charm between her eyebrows is flowing, and her mature charm is the most alluring. Hiss. Suliang immediately took a breath of air and couldn't help but swallow. Good looking, really good looking. Liang, Yao, you guys, what do you think? Wearing such clothes for the first time, Tan Kinja endured her shyness and asked softly. Master, you are indeed very graceful and graceful, rare in the world. Qin Benjio praised decisively. But Suliang shook his head and said, my sister is beautiful, but there is still something missing. Say it. He took out a pair of high heels and gave them to her thoughtfully. Sister, this is the gift I prepared for you. It just goes with your outfit. After taking the high-heeled shoes and looking at them, which were somewhat similar to some of her own high-heeled shoes, Tan Kinja felt a little less shy. She lifted her feet lightly and put them on the spot. Seeing this, Suliang nodded with satisfaction. It's right now. Black stockings and high heels, this is my sister in her prime. Sister, I would like to call you the OL ceiling. Not only Suliang, but also Qin Benjio on the side looked at his master's current appearance and marveled. I didn't expect that the clothes designed by Suliang looked weird, but when worn by my master, they looked amazing. But it's so stunning. This outfit, black silk, paired with these high-heeled shoes, not only highlights master's figure, but also adds to his temperament. It is a perfect match for master. The current master is the real cold and charming queen. She is so sassy and charming. Looking at her current appearance, Tan Kinja also felt surprised. The clothes that his disciple gave him were obviously very strange, with a style and combination that he had never seen before. But when it's worn, it looks exceptionally good, and it's a perfect match for me. At this moment, Tan Kinja suddenly turned her head to look in the direction of Suliang, and immediately noticed the wanting look that Suliang was looking at her. With a smile on her lips, Tan Kinja gave Suliang a playful look. This time, Suliang was shocked. Oops, the evil demon wants to play new tricks again. I don't know if I and Benjio can withstand it. After a lot of dressing up, tossing, and playing around, time flew by, and soon it was evening. In Tan Kinja's room, her birthday dinner was already prepared at this moment. The three of them sat down separately and looked at the various delicacies on the table. Tan Kinja's beautiful eyes were full of color. "Ah Yang, it's my birthday this year. I'm lucky to have you." But just when the dinner party just started, Qin Benjio directly picked up the wine glass and drank it to her master. "Master, I would like to drink this glass to you." "Congratulations, master, happy birthday, and I will drink it every day from now on as happy as today." Over the years, master has worked very hard to raise his disciple and teach him how to practice. But now that he has grown up and has a boyfriend, it is time for him to respect his master. After saying that, before Tan Kinja could say anything, Qin Benjio picked up the wine glass and drank it all in one gulp. Although Qin Benjio looks so filial and her words are heartwarming, what she thinks in her heart is completely different from what she says. Is this how to show filial piety to the master and give him wine? Stop it. Of course, I want to get master drunk quickly so that I can go back with my boyfriend and do some of my favorite things. Tan Kinja chuckled twice, picked up the wine glass and drank it all in one gulp. But in her heart, she kept complaining. "Traitor, traitor, are you showing off to me? You have a man, but master is still alone? Humph, you didn't expect that your man is also my man. No, this doesn't seem to be something worth showing off." After filling another glass of wine, Tan Kinja picked it up, looked at her apprentice with a smile, and said, "Yao, let master respect you for this glass. Today is my teacher's birthday. If you can be so thoughtful and know how to honor my teacher, I am very happy for you. My Yao has grown up." After that, he drank it all in one gulp without waiting for Qin Benjio's reaction. Do you really think that Tan Kinja was inspired and moved in her heart? Joke. Of course, he wanted to get his stupid apprentice drunk quickly, so that he could play with her man in front of his apprentice. When the time comes, while her apprentice is drunk on the side, she and her man will do this and that, galloping, maybe even have a real confused look. Gee, when you think about it, why is it so exciting? Seeing her master finish the glass of wine, Qin Benjao naturally had to drink it, so she also drank it in one gulp. Then, in turn, he started to give wine to his master. Then, the two masters and apprentices, each with their own ulterior motives, were fighting openly and secretly, trying desperately to get each other drunk, drinking one glass after another without stopping. There were more than 4 dishes on the table, but the master and the apprentice refused to eat any of them. Looking at the anxious battle on the table, Suliang chewed slowly, tasted the food, sat on the mountain and watched the tigers fight. From time to time, he would have a sip of wine, feel content, and watch the show leisurely. The two masters and disciples may not be able to see each other's thoughts, and they really think that mothers are kind and daughters are filial, but how could Suliang not see it? Fight, fight, I will win in the end anyway. But as time passes, there were plenty of dishes on the table, but there wasn't much wine left. Seeing the two of them working hard and drinking more and more, as if they would never stop if no one was drunk, Suliang became a little worried. I saw. Qin Benjao's cheeks were flushed, her eyes were blurred with drunkenness, her eyes were filled with water, and she had a dull smile on her face. Her delicate body was soft and boneless, and she leaned against Suliang from time to time, exhaling like blue. She was extremely charming. Suliang, he, let's go back and do something we love to do. And the other side. Tan Kinja's cheeks were also flushed. In her drunken state, her charming eyes were as silky as silk, her fragrant tongue spit out from time to time, and she licked her red lips. The charming charm between her eyebrows and eyes seemed to be completely melted and spread throughout her body. Hearing what her apprentice said, Tan Kinja decisively came to the other side of Suliang, rubbed Suliang, and said in a charming voice, "No, no, no, today is my teacher's birthday. Liang is mine tonight, and no one can take it away from me. Not even a disciple." Ahem. Suliang coughed lightly and couldn't help but remind him, "You two, let's stop drinking, right? It's easy to make mistakes if you drink too much. When you make mistakes, you make mistakes." Tan Kinja didn't care at all and pounced on him decisively. Then, this night, the three of them naturally made mistakes. After being drunk, Tan Kinja became decisive and promiscuous, and could no longer maintain her usual cold and aloof appearance. She was just like a little woman, clingy and alluring. I saw. Tan Kinja had silky eyes and a charming smile on her face. She raised her beautiful legs wrapped in black stockings and leaned on Suliang, and began her honest eating journey. Immediately afterwards, Tan Kinja stretched out her arms and held Suliang in her arms decisively. She put her head on Suliang's body and rubbed her body back and forth, making unexplained whimpering sounds. See this. Qin Benjao on the side opened her big confused eyes, waved her little fist back and forth, and protested cutely, "Master, you, let go, that's my man, my man." "I know, Master, you are lonely, and lacking of love. But, Master, no matter how lacking of love, you cannot attack my man. Suliang is mine, my master." It sounded quite impressive, but unfortunately, the cute fairy was also drunk, so her words were not convincing at all. "Don't make trouble." Tan Kinja waved her hand as if to shoo away flies. "Liang, he is mine. Yaoer only came a few days early, how can you monopolize Liang?" "No, no, I won't, Liang is mine." "Ah! Master!" Qin Benjao was so angry that her master screamed. She didn't look like a fairy at all. She stretched out her hand, took her boyfriend's arm, and pulled her in her direction, trying to take her boyfriend back. However, "But I didn't expect it." Feeling the power from her apprentice, Tan Kinja muttered vaguely, okay, hey, Yaoer, don't say that the master doesn't love you, Liang, let you have a taste. Say it." With a strong tug, he actually pulled his disciple into his arms. Chin Benjeo hug left and right. JPG. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens. Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womang. Chapter 153. Volume 1 Chapter 145, How to Bully Your Man When He Is Regarded as a Disciple. Hey hey hey. Tan Kinja smiled happily and touched the heads of the two people in her arms. Liang, Yao you are all mine. Liang's face turned dark as he listened to his sister's words and felt his girlfriend beside him struggling as she pushed into his arms. Can my girlfriend and sister still survive? Before drinking, everyone was colder and more aloof. Why did they all become so stupid when they were drunk? What a sin. But even when Liang was sighing, Tan Kinja hadn't stopped selling it yet. Opening her hazy drunken eyes, she looked at her man and her disciple in her arms. Tan Kinja laughed again, leaned close to her disciple's ear, and whispered, Yao let me see how I can bully you as a teacher man. Say it. He decisively started to attack Liang. Although Tan Kinja is said to be promiscuous and daring after drinking, at first glance, she is actually quite normal. Well, Liang. Tan Kinja whispered softly in her mouth, her voice was charming, her eyes were as silky as silk, her slender hands kept moving around Liang's body, squeezing his face, touching his abdominal muscles, and rubbing Liang back and forth, doing all kinds of things, which was really fun. Not too much. Liang, on the other hand, was held tightly in Tan Kinja's arms and had no strength to resist. In the end, he had no choice but to enjoy it. It has to be said that once Liang corrected his mentality, Liang suddenly felt that this was not some humiliating torture. Especially with his girlfriend by his side, Liang felt even more excited. More than that. After playing with Liang, Tan Kinja played with Chin Benjeo again in front of Liang. Seeing her sister's hand caressing her girlfriend's cheek, Chin Benjeo kept squirming and struggling to prevent her master from succeeding. Liang almost wanted to join in and bully his girlfriend together. This moment, Tan Kinja hugged her from left to right, raised and lowered her hands. It can be said that her younger brother and disciples took them all. Master, you can't do this. Chin Benjeo said angrily, I am your disciple, and Liang is my man. Master, how can you treat us like this? Master, if you do this again, my disciple, I will fight back. The words fell. Seeing that her master still refused to stop, Chin Benjeo fought back decisively, freed her hands, grabbed her master's face, and pinched it back and forth. You traitor, how dare you treat master like this? Tan Kinja got angry and retaliated decisively. She got into a fight with her apprentice, each pinching the other's face and pulling hard. Well. Chin Benjeo sobbed, turned to look at her boyfriend, and invited, Liang, come quickly, we husband and wife will join hands to teach the master a lesson. It's better to say goodbye, right? Liang blinked. He always felt that if he got involved in the past now, it would become a different kind of lesson. It's definitely to the point of rolling your eyes and sticking out your tongue to tell the stream to flow and call you good brother. Then, while the master and apprentice were fighting fiercely, Liang decisively stepped back and stayed away from the battlefield to watch the show. I saw. The two masters and apprentices were fighting. Chin Benjeo waved her hand and accurately grabbed the collar of Tan Kinja's shirt, and because the design was a bit small, the two buttons tied on the proud peak, inadvertently, it collapsed. As a result, Tan Kinja opened her collar, revealing an astonishing snow-white color. The majesty of the proud peak simply made Chin Benjeo stare straight at it. After looking at her master's proud heights and then at her own level of growth, Chin Benjeo pouted, feeling a little inferior. Wo Masters is so big, it can definitely be wrapped in it, but as for me, the remaining half is left outside for Sulang, and I can't wrap it up at all. No, Masters is too big. How can it be bigger than yours? Punishment must be punished. It must be done by Master. Thinking in her mind, Qin Benjio took action decisively, grabbed it with her little hands, left and right, controlling the future, and squeezed it hard with a little force. There, it won't work there. Tan Kinja felt the soreness on the proud peak, and said something coquettishly. Then she looked at her Ailiang, her charming eyes as silk, and reminded, Ailiang, look at what your girlfriend is doing. Well, that's your favorite. If it's damaged by Yaoer, it's you who will lose anyway, huh? After blinking and seeing that the situation was not good, Suliang stood up and planned to step forward to stop him. Ahem, Yaoer, sister, it's late now. I think we're going to end today like this. What are you going to do? Half the story? Then they saw Qin Benjio let go of the future, turned around, and looked at Suliang with dangerous eyes. Immediately afterwards, Tan Kinja's eyes gradually became dangerous, and there was a faint smile on the corner of her mouth. Sulang, Liang. Whispering Suliang's name softly, the master and apprentice broke out into a strong tacit understanding at this moment, and decisively joined forces to directly suppress Suliang. Immediately afterwards, the two of them moved their hands up and down at the same time, kissing and hugging each other, and even started tearing Suliang's clothes. At first, Suliang could resist, but gradually, he found that things seemed to be developing in the wrong direction. Unknowingly, this scale is getting bigger and bigger. Alas, Yaoer, why are you taking off my coat? No, please give it back. Sister, that's enough, those are my pants. What on earth are you going to do? Put me down quickly. Suliang was about to collapse and kept struggling, but in the blink of an eye, by the time he reacted, it was too late. In the blink of an eye, Suliang found that he was already lying on the bed, with his body covered and no one spared. At the same time, Tan Kinja has already arrived on his body, holding the future with both hands, aiming at the scabbard, ready to gallop at any time. This is already the point where I have to sit down as a teacher? Sister, please calm down. The other side. Qin Benjio, who was also curled up on the bed and looked at the two of them like this, had already burst into tears and cried hard, Master, Sulang is my man, you can't do this. Master, please leave quickly, Sulang is mine, you can only do this with me. What I didn't expect was. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the inner demon took action again and began to whisper in Qin Benjio's ears, trying to disrupt Qin Benjio's Taoist heart and make her fall into the devil's path. Your master and your man, the two closest people to you. Listening to the whispers in her ears, Qin Benjio fell silent, lowered her head and said nothing. Seeing that she was about to turn black. But right now, the inner demon that bewitched Qin Benjio was dumbfounded. It discovered that Qin Benjio's Taoist heart was as solid as a rock and indestructible. Looking at the scene in front of her, coupled with the murmurs of her inner demon, Qin Benjio was not shaken at all. Volume 1 Chapter 146 I saw the master in her boyfriend's bed in the early morning, and the master-disciple breakup was in crisis. What's going on? This is obviously the girl's inner demon. The facts have already happened before her eyes, but why doesn't this girl waver? I don't understand, the inner demon said that I can't understand it. So, unwilling to do so, the inner demon began to further observe Qin Benjio, and soon found clues. Crying on the surface. Are you as stable as an old dog? It turns out you are acting. Bah, Qin Benjio, this little girl, looks miserable on the surface. She keeps crying and looks like her man has been robbed. but inside, I was secretly feeling happy. At this moment, the inner demon admitted that he was dumbfounded. I am a demon in my heart, but I am not as evil as you, okay? It's eye-opening that there are such people in the world. Looking at everything in front of him and feeling the changes in Qin Benjao's heart, Qin Benjao made his inner demons unstable and defeated on the spot. As an inner demon, I am not as evil as my host. I am ashamed to be called an inner demon. I just feel so ashamed in my heart that I don't deserve to be a demon anymore, okay? The night passed quickly, and soon it was the morning of the next day. Qin Benjao lay on the bed and slowly opened her eyes, but she only felt that her vision was blurry and she had a splitting headache. Well, my head hurts. While rubbing the sides of her forehead, Qin Benjao whimpered softly. This kind of headache when waking up after a hangover is indeed a bit uncomfortable. After rubbing for a moment to relieve some pain, Qin Benjao naturally looked to her side to find the location of her boyfriend. At first glance, he saw Suliang lying next to him, still sleeping soundly. Seeing this, Qin Benjao showed a happy smile on her face. Then, he looked to the side, and at the second glance, he saw the master lying next to his boyfriend, curled up in his arms, with a happy smile on his face and no trace of clothing on his body. Looking to the side, the clothes of the three of them were all scattered on the ground, entangled together, and some were even torn to pieces, which was enough to show the intensity of the battle last night. Then, the smile suddenly solidified. At this moment, Qin Benjao was completely stunned. What on earth is going on? Why is Master here? Moreover, it seems that she and her boyfriend have also done those yin and yang things. How can this be done? Sulang is obviously my man, Master, how can she do this? Could it really be that the three of us had drunken sex last night? After thinking about this, Qin Benjao closed her eyes again and began to recall the thrilling experience last night. Although Qin Benjao's memory is a little blurry due to being drunk, Qin Benjao remembers the general development process clearly. Last night, Master was very proactive and excited. Moreover, why do you feel that Master is very skilled in galloping a horse, as if he has done it many times? Master, I'm so embarrassed that Master is teasing his disciple like this. The more she recalled, the more shy Qin Benjao became, her cheeks turned red, and her head almost dropped to the pair of proud peaks. He quietly raised his head and looked at his master. His mind was still full of the crazy scene of his master galloping on top of his boyfriend. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 154. Seeing the traces on her master's snow-white skin, Qin Benjao seemed to finally understand the situation and began to be shocked. He and Sulang actually dragged Master into trouble? No, that can't be said. Seeing how Master took the initiative last night, hugging each other, and taking the initiative to act like Master was going to sit down, this should be regarded as Master entering the water voluntarily, right? So, you can't blame yourself and Sulang? But, Sulang is mine. It has always been mine. Why does Master suddenly ride up on me now? This is obviously because Master is sorry for himself. She didn't want to leave Sulang at all. Just thinking about such a scene made Qin Benjao feel breathless and heartbroken. She simply had no idea of living anymore. As for the Master, although he had sex after drinking, it can be seen that the Master was voluntary at all. Obviously, he also had some affection for Sulang. In addition, it was his master, so he could not let his master forcefully leave Sulang. So, are you really going to serve your husband together with your master? Thinking of this, Qin Benjao felt uncomfortable and entangled in her heart. After all, the husband who has always been his own suddenly wants to give half of it to his master. How can he not feel uncomfortable? And Although Qin Benjio has always imagined the scene where the master is bullied by her boyfriend, but the feeling of master and apprentice serving the same husband. It's really indescribable, too subtle. And just when Qin Benjio was entangled and uncomfortable. In fact, Tan Kinja, who was lying beside her, had already woken up and was just pretending to be asleep at the moment. She quietly opened her eyes and saw Suliang next to her, with her back to Qin Benjio. She also opened her eyes and looked at herself. Tan Kinja decisively made eye contact with Suliang. Liang, now everything is exposed. What should we do? Suliang blinked and looked innocent. Who told you to be so drunk last night that you had to hug each other and gallop without considering the consequences? I can't even stop you, tisk tisk, I really didn't expect that. After my sister got drunk, she actually played so crazy. Okay, look, sister, have you stabbed me? Immediately. Seeing his sister's somewhat panicked look, Suliang sighed. No matter what, you still have to solve this matter on your own. The troubles I caused were caused by my sister, but I asked my sister to solve them for me. So what did I become? So, as soon as he thought of this, Suliang immediately opened his eyes and woke up. Immediately afterwards, Suliang actually ejected directly, sat up, and began to play dumb in front of his girlfriend. He looked at his girlfriend and sister in a panic. What is going on? What happened last night? Then he pretended to be stunned, with a look of grief on his face. Sister, I have always trusted you, but I didn't expect that you could do such a thing when you were drunk. You have made me even think about Benjeo's innocence. How can I have the nerve to see Benjeo? Oh, I can't live anymore, Benjeo, I'm sorry for you. Seeing Suliang's overly exaggerated acting skills, Tan Kinja rolled her eyes in disdain, but did not stand up to refute anything. After all, now that I think about it, last night, it seemed that was indeed the case. After I got drunk last night, I hugged each other and galloped my horse. I was so happy that I didn't even think about the consequences. At this moment, Qin Benjeo didn't find any clues. Seeing her boyfriend's grief-stricken look, Qin Benjeo hurriedly hugged her boyfriend and comforted her. Sulang, it's okay. I know you have no choice but to do it. I don't mind it. You are still my favorite Sulang. Hearing this, Tan Kinja finally couldn't bear it any longer, and immediately opened her eyes and sat up, regardless of her snow-white skin and proud peaks displayed outside, with a cold attitude. I'm just a Liang, sleeping for my teacher. I just fell asleep, so what? Yao do you know that as a woman, if something like this happens with the man who is my disciple, I will also suffer a lot, okay? However, facing the cold master, Qin Benjeo directly condemned. Humph, master, how can you be so irresponsible? My disciple is on guard, but in the end, master, you still attacked my husband. But since you have already slept with my Sulang, how can you still have this attitude? Aren't you afraid that Sulang will be sad? Then, before Tan Kinja could speak, Qin Benjeo continued, to be honest with you, master, I have long seen that master has ulterior motives and has bad intentions towards my Sulang. But I didn't expect that this day would come so early. Humph, master is still here talking about suffering a loss. I think it is my Sulang who is suffering a loss, right? You traitor, traitor. For your man, you dare to contradict the master like this, how dare you? I'm just so angry, okay. Moreover, his silly and sweet apprentice in the past doesn't even believe in himself now. This is already a complete loss of trust in master? Thinking in her mind, Tan Kinja raised her head and looked at her apprentice. Faintly, an anxious atmosphere appeared between the two of them. It seems that the crisis of master-disciple breakup started just like this. And just when the atmosphere was anxious. However, a sudden rain fell from the sky, which relieved the embarrassment in the room. Everyone from the Tiandao sect, get out of here. You have offended me, and if you don't give me an explanation, do you really think that your Tiandao sect can still exist safely? A somewhat angry voice suddenly resounded throughout the Tiandao sect, followed immediately by an extremely powerful pressure. Just a moment. The entire Tiandao sect, no matter the elders or disciples, under the super strong sense of oppression, neither the body nor the true energy in the body could move, and even the mind was a little blurred, and they almost fainted. In Tan Kinja's room, Tan Kinja was feeling carefully while releasing her true energy, resisting the pressure of this extremely powerful and overbearing force. After a while, Tan Kinja's face became slightly solemn. This is extraordinary pressure? Without thinking much, Tan Kinja stood up decisively. With a wave of her hand, her clothes were put on and she walked out. See this. Suliang and Qin Benjao put on their clothes quickly and followed without saying a word. At this critical moment of life and death for Tiandao sect and even themselves, what happened last night was nothing. The three of them walked all the way out, and soon they came to a high platform used for ceremonies that stood on the huge square. Looking around, I saw that in the entire square, the disciples and elders of Tiandao sect who were originally coming and going here were all standing still, unable to move due to the pressure of transcendence. But in front of the high platform, among the crowd, two figures stood there, with their hands behind their backs and expressionless faces. These two people were Mo Bianxian, the Taoist disciple from Tiandao sect, and his transcendent realm protector. Pointing her toes, Tan Kinja flew onto the stage, condescendingly looking down at Daizai below. Her voice was majestic and cold. Who are you, sir? Why do you come to our Tiandao sect to act wild? Oh, this Taoist disciple is the Taoist disciple of Fukang Dao section. Don't wait any longer. Daizai sneered twice. Tan Kinja, you, a member of the Tiandao sect, have repeatedly ruined my plans and robbed me of opportunities. You are really brave. I came here today to punish you, Tiandao sect. Humph, just because your Tiandao sect has offended me, today, I am going to destroy your whole Tiandao sect. Sure enough, he is from Fukang Dao sect. Tan Kinja felt relieved, but she warned proudly, don't wait any longer. You must think clearly. With my status, your entire Fukang Dao sect will not be able to move. If you are more knowledgeable, get out of here quickly, otherwise, I will not let go of what happened today. But I didn't expect it. Faced with Tan Kinja's warning, Mo Yi ignored it. He laughed twice, shook his head and said, I don't care what your identity is. What I did today was done without anyone noticing. I will kill your Tiandao section. This is something no one knows. I might as well tell you that I have set up a ban on this place. No one can enter or leave. No one can hear everything going on inside. It can be said that everything is isolated. Furthermore, I have already found a solution. When the time comes, all others will know is that there is a demon walking around and destroying the Tiandao section. What does this have to do with me? You. Hearing this, Tan Kinja's expression became more solemn. I was careless. I didn't expect that. I actually underestimated this madness. Before, I only felt that even if I offended Fukang Dao Zone, given my identity, I would not be afraid of Fukang Dao Zone coming to seek revenge. But I didn't expect that this Taoist disciple of Fukang Dao sect could do things so well. Tan Kinja has a very clear understanding of her own strength. Even after being with Suliang, her strength has improved rapidly. She is proud of the immortality realm and is almost unbeatable in the immortality realm. However, this little strength is not enough in the face of transcendence. Once a fight breaks out, he has no power to fight back. It would be fine if he died here, but he would also involve Liang and Yao. Because of his trust, Liang and Yao had to die together with him. How could this be possible? Thinking in her mind, Tan Kinja turned to look at her man and her disciple, full of guilt. But at this life and death moment, Qin Binjao smiled at her master. Instead of blaming her at all, she opened her heart and said to her master, "Master, in fact, my disciple doesn't care about what happened between you and Sulang at all." While talking, Qin Binjao walked up to the master, took the master's arm, and confessed, "Not only do I not care, but even, this kind of thing makes the disciple very interesting. That is, the disciple thinks it is fun to tease the master, that's why I treated master like that before." Suliang and Tan Kinja were stunned by these words. "This is still my girlfriend, apprentice? My man was robbed by my master. Not only did I not care, I actually found it exciting? What on earth is going on in her head?" And Volume 1 Chapter 147, Kill the Immortal with one sword, protect your wife domineeringly. This result is a bit too easy and too outrageous, right? If I had known today, wouldn't all the preparations I had made before be in vain? But at this moment, Qin Binjao spoke directly, "However, master, I want to make it clear to you that I was the one who came here first, Sulang. Although I really don't care, I still have to be careful big. First come, first served. Master wants to call me sister. Call your apprentice sister? No, no, how can this be possible? But, what Yaoer said does make sense. So, I still have to shout." As soon as she thought of this, Tan Kinja's cheeks turned crimson, she was extremely shy, her mouth opened and closed, and after a long while, she finally shouted out, "Sister, sister." That's right. Qin Binjao was satisfied that her wish had come true. "Master, sister, I am here." The other side. Seeing that Suliang, Qin Binjao, and Tan Kinja were so intimate, Lang Qing concubine walked up to her without any fear, and Daisy felt bad. "You guys are like this, I am a dignified person, but it is very shameless. You guys figure it out, I'm going to kill all of you, and you won't let it go. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator." Author, Fangzone Womang. Chapter 155. "But what about you? You are still showing off your affection in front of me. Moreover, it is also a sadomasochistic triangle? That's all. In the end, I actually achieved positive results. Who are you trying to torture? Just bully me, don't get your girlfriend, right? Then." Mo Tongxian decisively ordered his Transcendence Realm protector, "Go ahead, kill these three bastards and men first, and then massacre the entire Tiandao sect, leaving no one behind." "Yes." The protector nodded in agreement, and immediately used his moves to attack the three of them. "See this." Tan Kinja took a step forward, her face full of determination, and she actually started to stir up taboos in her body, wanting to fight for her life. "In my last life, I didn't face up to my feelings for Ailiang. Instead, I let Ailiang protect me, so that I truly fell in love with each other, but I missed it in the end. In this life, she must protect her Ailiang. Even if you give everything." At the same time, Qin Binjao also took a step forward and came to Suliang with a firm expression. "Double pupils, open your eyes." With a murmur, in an instant, the color of the world changed, and his eyes opened with double pupils. "In my last life, it was Sulang who protected me all my life. In the end, he gave up his talent, status, and cultivation, just to be with me in the next life. So, you must be a good protector of your husband. The crisis of life and death is in front of you is an invincible detachment, and behind you is your beloved man. This moment, Tan Kinja and Qin Binjao are both going to be bloody and explode, and they have to fight to the death to protect the people behind them. And how could Suliang not be able to sense the abnormal fluctuations of true energy on the two of them? See this." Suliang raised his hand decisively and pulled the two of them behind him, directly interrupting their blood-soaked behavior. Suliang, Liang, you. Qin Benjiao and Tan Qinjia both looked at Suliang with some confusion, not understanding what Suliang was going to do. Can be followed immediately. Dong, dong. Two muffled sounds were heard, and Suliang raised his hand and hit each of them on the head violently. This time, he really used his strength, and Qin Benjiao and Tan Qinjia were so hard that they covered their heads and looked at her with their mouths pouting, looking aggrieved. However, Suliang, however, no longer felt sorry for the two of them. He glared at them and scolded them, "You two are really serious. Your men are still here. You are better off. What can you do?" As soon as the words fell, there was another violent shock, hitting the two of them on the head. This time, there was still no holding back. The two girls who were beaten, one with tears in their eyes, the other with resentment, both looked at Suliang without saying a word. But in their eyes, the determination to sacrifice everything in order to protect Suliang was still clearly visible. Feeling the different gazes of the two people, Suliang simply ignored them. Turning his head, Suliang looked in the direction of Mo Dangxian and the Guardian. Without saying a word, he stepped forward. One step down. Base. A crisp sword cry sounded, and immediately after, a bright sword light appeared next to Suliang, floating in the air to confront the powerful enemy. The sharp sword on it seemed to cut through the world. Immediately afterwards, Suliang kept walking, step by step, calmly and slowly, but firmly on the ground. And following his footsteps, there was sword light every step of the way. In just a moment, the sky was filled with sword light, buzzing and trembling. The cold sword intent on it penetrated the heaven and earth, making people's hair stand on end. See this. Mo Tongxian was quite unimpressed. In his impression, Suliang was only at the level of a master. Together with the little girl behind him, they couldn't defeat just a clone of himself. No matter how much sword light he has, can he still be able to do anything to his more powerful body? It's just a fly shaking a tree. In the end, it's all in vain. However, the transcendent realm protector behind Mo Dianxian looked at Suliang's sword light in the sky, but his expression became solemn. The realm of the protector is far beyond that of Mo Bianxian. What Mo Bianxian cannot see clearly, he can see clearly. This sword light filled the sky, and even he felt like a ray of light on his back. He could actually feel a faint threat of death. This kid, seeing as his cultivation level is only at the dragon transformation realm, how could he possibly be able to unleash such a powerful attack? Seeing the solemn expression on the face of the transcendent realm protector, Suliang showed a smile. He naturally knew that he was no match for the transcendent and Taoist Mo Yishan in front of him. Therefore, how could he use ordinary tricks to fight against the enemy? This sword light in the sky was the trump card he got after the second simulation, killing the immortal. Under the light of the sword, even immortals can be killed. If they are only transcended, what is there to fear? As soon as he thought of this, Suliang's breath suddenly condensed. Immediately, his energy skyrocketed like crazy, and in just a short moment, he had returned to his former heyday. That is the glory of the pinnacle of swordsmanship. And with the changes in Suliang, the sword light that fills the sky as you float in the air also bursts out with unprecedented blazing sword pressure. The bright sword light buzzed and trembled, the sword intention was vertical and horizontal, the sky and the earth changed color, the lightning flashed and thundered, the nine heavens shook, the mountains and rivers flowed backwards, the meaning that was far beyond the extreme sharpness of the human world, but the residual power shook, it actually cut out a line in the sky come crack. See this. The detached protector immediately changed his expression. This, what kind of incredible trick is this? How could it be so powerful? Impossible, this is impossible. While his mind was violently shaken, the Transcendent Realm Protector shouted, took action decisively, and used all his strength to execute a decisive move, then blasted towards Sul Yang, as if he was going to kill Sul Yang with one move. See this. Sul Yang made a sword hand with his hand, likened it to the finger of a sword, and waved it far away, commanding the bright sword light that even Jushin was afraid of, and clashed with the Transcendent Guardian. Facing Sul Yang's unparalleled swordsmanship, with every move he could pick at his fingertips, he had the power to kill an immortal. He could only escape from a state of transcendence, but would only end in defeat. Just a few tricks. The protector of the transcendent realm was defeated by the light of Sul Yang's sword. Puff. A mouthful of blood spat out, and the transcendent realm protector looked at Sul Yang, who was using his sword light in horror, his body trembling slightly. Someone can kill an immortal with just one sword, how can I fight him? Being able to block these attacks, the Transcendent Realm Protector even thought that Sul Yang had spared his hand. Otherwise, with just one strike of the sword, even if his body is not completely destroyed, he is afraid that his body will be completely destroyed and he will be seriously injured and die. Run, run. What Taoist, what Fukang Tao sect, why is your own life so important? Thinking in his heart, this Transcendent Realm Protector actually didn't care about Deizai at all. He stepped out of the sword light, used his body skills, and decisively started to escape. Want to escape? Sul Yang chuckled, is it just you who can wield a sword that even immortals can't escape from? The words fell. Sul Yang drew a sword light and attached it to his hand. After brewing for a moment, he stabbed out suddenly. One sword without regrets, the sword comes out with no regrets. Accompanied by Sul Yang's soft chant, the sword light cut through the sky, the light flickered, and it even cut through the space. In an instant, the sword light was chasing the escaping transcendent realm, already thousands of miles away. Base. After a dull sound, the sword light passed through his body. Sul Yang actually killed the strong man in the Transcendence realm who had fled thousands of miles away with just one sword stroke. This moment, the wind and clouds changed again, the wind roared, and the earth trembled. At this moment, because of the death of Transcendence, the world was in mourning. Countless living creatures and mortals felt that the grief in their hearts was uncontrollable, and they began to cry bitterly without realizing it. A person who is just in a state of transcendence is actually worthy of the sorrow of heaven and earth. Looking at the already overcast sky, Sul Yang shook his head and smiled, then turned around and stared at Dao Zi, who was already dumbfounded. Don't wait any longer, you threatened to massacre my Tiandao sect today. Such a wolfish ambition will be punished by both heaven and earth. Your transcendent helper is dead, and it will be your turn next. After saying that, Sul Yang put his hands behind his back and focused his sword power with his eyes. In an instant, the sword energy was flying all over the sky like arms and fingers, all slashing towards Deizai. It's not that easy to kill me. Deizai quickly came back to his senses, and in an instant, he used all his methods: turtle shell self-defense, golden scale armor, Fukang Vajra body, protective jade. Open them all for me, Deizai. Keeping roaring, Mo Bianxian continued to use various defensive methods. He tried his best, but still had no power to fight back. He spent all his true energy just to save his life. However, even so, all Mo Tian's methods could not stop Sul Yang's magnificent sword. Seeing that he is about to die under the light of the sword, it seems that it is a near-death situation. Looking at the sword light so close at hand, Mo Tran closed his eyes subconsciously, waiting for death to come. But right now, the sword light that was about to kill him actually stopped when it was the last inch away from him and stopped moving forward. Immediately afterwards, the sword light shook for a moment and then disappeared. Along with it, the fierce sword intent that changed the color of the world disappeared without a trace. The world that was still in turmoil just now returned to calm in an instant. If it weren't for the fact that there was a transcendent corpse thousands of miles away, and the grief in this world hadn't ended yet, people would have doubted whether everything before had really happened. Alas, what a pity, there is only one step left to kill him. Suliang shook his head and sighed, feeling a little disappointed. This move to kill an immortal is really powerful. It can kill even the transcendent realm with one sword. It is simply unbelievably powerful. However, it is not long-lasting enough. Such a small amount of time is simply not enough. But, looking at Mo Dongxian's still devastated look, Suliang felt a little better. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womang. Chapter 156. Although the immortal killer disappeared and could not kill Mo Bianxian, his Taoist heart had been broken by the power of Suliang's sword. From now on, in Mo Diangxian's heart, that sword of unparalleled splendor will definitely become his deepest nightmare. And what follows? Even half of Mo Biangxian's luck was snatched away by Suliang. In an instant. The luck lingering in Suliang's body, with the addition of Mo Biangxian's huge half of the luck, actually transformed, directly reaching the level of transforming into a dragon. Roar. A dragon roar sounded, and the sound was so powerful that the dragon-shaped luck protection body was coiled around Suliang. Golden light seemed to be looming around Suliang, which was very powerful. Click. A series of shattering sounds sounded, and Suliang suddenly realized something. He looked around hurriedly and saw that his second-day shackles with the Emperor's heavy eyes were now more than half broken. See this? Suliang showed a satisfied smile. Not bad, not bad. I really didn't expect that half of this Taoist's luck would have such an effect. It seems that it is not far away from the collapse of all the second layer of shackles. After taking stock of the harvest, Suliang looked at Daizai, who was still in a daze, frowned slightly, and began to think deeply about the current situation. Now, without such a powerful trump card in his immortal slaying skill, and with his girlfriend, they are just two stronger dragon transformation realm geniuses. My elder sister is a leader in the immortal realm, but she is still far behind when faced with behemoths like Fukang Dao sect. In the entire Tiandao sect, there are only 3 of them who can produce combat power now. After such a calculation, our own combat power is simply not enough. It seems that putting Mo Yuren back is a good choice. But don't wait for it. Even if the Taoist heart is destroyed, he is still a threat because he is ruthless, scheming, and unpredictable. Instead of putting it back and letting him come back to attack again, it would be better to kill him directly now. After all, Mo Tianxian looks like this now. Although he is in shock, it will be terrible if he wakes up. Thinking in his mind, Suliang looked at his sister, and happened to catch Tan Qingjia's eyes. Moment. Both of them saw the same meaning in each other's eyes. After nodding, the two reached a silent consensus in just a moment. Take action and kill him first. But at this critical moment, a beautiful figure appeared in front of everyone very suddenly, and her voice was full of coldness and arrogance. Everyone stop it. Hearing this voice, Suliang was startled, and then he raised his head in confusion and looked towards the direction from which the voice came. I saw. A slender figure stood in front of everyone. Her body was slender and hot, with the front and back curved. Although it was not as plump as Tan Qingjia, it was another kind of extremely royal feeling that was intoxicating. The face of this beautiful figure is extremely beautiful, but on the face, the holy meaning and the charm between the eyebrows are integrated, blending with each other, adding a bit of allure. Volume 1 # Chapter 148 Master, you haven't even come into the bowl yet. In addition, This beautiful figure exudes coldness, aloofness, and calmness and majesty like an ancient well. All kinds of momentum are mixed together. Just standing there makes people feel endless pressure. He looks like an aloof Taoist master with unparalleled splendor. And this beautiful shadow is none other than Wan Qing. Teacher, master. Hearing Wan Qing's voice, Mo Tianxian's eyes regained some energy. He immediately woke up and looked at Wan Qing hurriedly. Master, she came to such a small place. Could it be that she was going out? She was uneasy and followed her all the way. Seeing that he was defeated again, did he show up to stand up for his disciples? Sure enough, it turns out that Master has her own heart in her heart. Otherwise, how could someone as cold and arrogant as his master follow him all the way here? As soon as he thought of this, Mo Tianxian immediately became excited. But even so, he still arranged his clothes, maintained his demeanor, and said, Master, you don't need to take action. I can handle these ant-like existences myself. But I didn't expect it. Hearing this, Wan Qing immediately turned around, looked at him, and angrily said, You traitor, how dare you disrespect your senior brother, who gave you the courage? If I come here a moment later, I'm afraid that the so-called ant brother in your mouth will die at your hands. Teacher, master, what are you talking about? Mo Tianxian was dumbfounded. What kind of senior brother, what kind of traitor, what are you talking about? Not only Mo Tianxian, but also Suliang didn't understand and looked at Wan Qing in confusion. Seeing this, Wan Qing smiled in her heart. Humph, I asked you not to accept me as your teacher before and to play idle games with me before. This time, I happened to go with the flow and established your identity. Let's see if you still refuse. Then, Wan Qing pointed at Suliang and said, Did you know that he, Suliang, is your senior brother and a close disciple of your master? Now, as a registered disciple, you are disrespectful to the close disciples. If you are not a traitor, what are you? After hearing this, everyone was numb and froze in place. For a moment, they didn't know what to do. What's going on? It was obvious that Suliang was just a useless person from a small sect with weak cultivation. Moreover, he had a grudge against him, so why did he suddenly become his senior brother? In this case, how to settle all kinds of hatred? But unfortunately, this is the order of my favorite master, and there is no way I can disobey it. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Looking at Suliang, who was still confused, Mo Tianxian felt a strong sense of crisis in his heart. Why, master, I am obviously your disciple, and I have been following you for countless years. During these days, I have been thinking about master all the time, and I have been extremely gentle and considerate towards master. But master, why do you prefer this boy so much? Master, tell me, what is so good about this Suliang? No, this must not be the case. I will never allow master to favor this boy Suliang. Master's love should belong to me alone. Regardless of what Mo Tianxian was thinking, Wan Qing turned to look at Suliang, her head held high, her hands behind her back, looking at Suliang arrogantly, without saying a word. It seems that she just wants Suliang to call her master. After looking at Dao Zi who was beside him and looking a little lost, and then at the gorgeous eldest sister in front of him, Suliang, for the first time, had some understanding of the identity of the eldest sister in front of him. Listening to what Mo Tianxian calls himself, he is a disciple of Fukang Dao section. Thinking about it, he must be the most powerful among the sect's geniuses, and they can be regarded as the hope of the future of the sect. What's more, he also has the fate of a high-level protagonist. Such a talented and beautiful person is only Wan Qing's registered disciple. The status of this eldest sister is too noble. It doesn't seem like a loss to accept this cheap master. After all, even if it's not for yourself, you should think about your girlfriend and sister. With a master with such a distinguished status, it is inevitable that the people of Fukang Dao sect will no longer cause trouble to Fukang Dao sect. After thinking this, Suliang bowed decisively and paid homage to this cheap master. Disciple Suliang, pay homage to the master. Well, get up. Nodding with satisfaction, Wan Qing stretched out her hand to help Suliang get up. So cool. I finally accepted him as my disciple, so satisfied. At this moment, Wan Qing was so satisfied that she was very satisfied with the tool disciple she had accepted. Yes, at first he was just a named disciple who he accepted casually. Although his basic talent was good, in recent years, he has always done nothing serious. This time, he finally helped himself solve a lifelong event. Immediately. Looking at Mo Dongxian, who was still a little lost, and then at Suliang standing behind her, Wan Qing said lightly, "What kind of grudges do you two have? I don't care about it, but looking at you like this, if this is the case, if the matter is not resolved, I'm afraid you two won't be convinced. In this case, I will make the decision as my teacher. I will temporarily seal the conflict between you two and postpone it for 1 year. This can be considered as giving Suliang some time to grow up. Wait a year later, no matter what your cultivation level is, then how about you two having a fair fight?" After hearing this, Suliang and Mo Bianxian both said respectfully, "I will obey the master's order." Seeing that the two agreed, Wan Qing became even happier. Actually, her so-called 1-year extension is simply a calculation. Wan Qing had seen Suliang's talent foundation with her own eyes. Even she couldn't give him any advice, which was enough to show how talented Suliang was. It was the only one Wan Qing had seen in her life. But since Suliang Tian is a prodigy, but now he is only in the dragon transformation realm, all he lacks is a little pressure. As for his named apprentice, he didn't have to wait around, and he happened to be a controllable target with excellent status, luck, and strength. In this way, wouldn't it be possible for him, as a registered disciple, to become a small pressure on Suliang? Come to think of it, if you don't wait, Suliang will definitely be able to achieve immortality within this year, right? The more she thought about it, the more satisfied Wan Qing became with her plan. It's perfect and just right. It's so suitable to let Suliang practice quickly in this way. And for Mo Tongxian, the master whom he loved deeply was constantly used as a tool to make his enemies stronger. Tragic, really miserable. Celebrate, the most miserable tool man in history is born at this moment. If he were to know about his master's plan, his heart would be broken into despair in an instant. But at this time, not only was Mo Dongxian unaware of master's calculations, but he still had wishful thinking that master had set it up to test him. The purpose is to let Suliang see what true despair is after 1 year. Don't worry, master, I will definitely live up to your expectations of me. The Tiandao sect was in trouble. Wan Qing did not hesitate at all and decisively sent Mo Dongxian back to the Fukang Dao sect. Immediately. However, she did not leave directly. Looking at Suliang standing in front of her, Wan Qing said lightly, "Speaking of which, you have become my disciple now, but you still don't know the name and identity of my master. This is not good. Forget it, I'll tell you here. My name is Liasu Wanking. You don't need to know the rest for now. Say it." My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womang. Chapter 157. Wan Qing looked at Suliang seriously and asked, "Suliang, let me ask you, are you willing to be my apprentice?" "Of course my disciple is willing." Suliang obediently agreed. Just kidding. From Mo Tingxian's attitude towards Liasu Wanking and Liasu Wanking's unfathomable strength, Suliang could tell how thick his thigh was. With such top-notch thighs, it's natural to hug them, so you won't suffer any loss. Moreover, he was indeed willing to worship her as his teacher, and he did not have any special purpose. Therefore, this was not considered a lie, and naturally he did not feel any psychological burden at all. Good, very good. Wan Qing nodded with satisfaction. Since you are willing, then go with me. After saying that, with a wave of sleeves and robe, Suliang was taken away. In the room, Liasu Wanqing sat on the chair, looked at Suliang standing in front of her, and said calmly, "Since you have joined my disciple, I should teach you how to be my disciple. This first lesson is our apprenticeship etiquette." After hearing this, Suliang blinked and said, "Master, please give me instructions." Wan Qing leaned back on the chair and said calmly, "The so-called apprenticeship etiquette is just serving tea, and it's not that difficult to do. But there are certain things to pay attention to when serving tea. When serving tea, the tea should be 4 parts cool and 6 parts hot, no more or no less. Otherwise, you are not sincere. Although you will not be expelled from the school, you will still have to drink it. Being punished. Serve tea? I am familiar with this life. Master, she should be asking me to master Leng Ran, that is, to have a fine grasp of qi, right? What's the problem with this?" Looking at Wan Qing's calm and cold expression, Suliang thought for a while and responded, "Yes, master." Immediately. Then he came to the side and began to try hard to prepare it. Coming to the other side, Wan Qing leaned back on the chair and watched Suliang working leisurely, as if watching a play. Suliang's idea was very good, but in fact, Wan Qing had no idea at all. The reason why Wan Qing made this request was simply to trouble Suliang. Humph, I think back then, my master was so capable. Now, it's time for me to stand up. How can I not punish me? Anyway, you are the one serving the tea, but I am the one drinking the tea. As long as I say something is wrong, what can you do? Aren't you going to accept the punishment obediently?" Under Wan Qing's impure thoughts, it was natural that Suliang was punished. Waving her hand casually, Wan Qing said calmly. Volume 1 Chapter 149, Cheap Master's Apprenticeship Ceremony, simulated for the second time. The temperature of this tea is too different from what I require as a teacher. It seems that you have no sincerity in worshipping me as your teacher. Forget it, I don't mind giving you another chance as a teacher, but if you can survive this long hair, you can be considered as passing this level. Hearing this, Suliang blinked in confusion and said, "Yes, master." He was confident that the temperature of the tea he had worked hard to prepare was absolutely correct. However, since he was his master, there was nothing he could do if others said it was wrong. "I can only accept the punishment honestly. You, come here, come in front of my master." After waving to Suliang, Wan Qing showed an inexplicable meaning on her lips that no one could see, pretending to be serious and cold, and said, "Squat down in front of my master." "Yes, master." Suliang looked confused. He had no idea what his cheap master wanted to do, but he still squatted down obediently. But the next moment, Wan Qing gently lifted her beautiful legs from the show, using Suliang's body as a partition. Her long and round legs wrapped in black stockings overlapped and rested on Suliang's shoulders. In an instant, Suliang only felt that the soft but elastic touch, wrapped in black silk, made it a little tighter. Coupled with the unique smooth touch of black silk, it was so close to him. Even occasionally, he would touch and rub his cheek lightly, bringing a different feeling. Wisps of fragrance lingered on the tip of his nose. As long as Suliang raised his head a little, he might even be able to see the beautiful valley scenery wrapped in the long skirt, where the black stockings stretched out. At this moment, Suliang was simply shocked. What exactly is this cheap master like me trying to do? Is this punishing myself, or giving myself benefits in disguise? Who can withstand the beautiful master's well-cultivated legs wrapped in black stockings and draped over his body? It has to be said that Suliang already feels that his Taoist heart has been greatly challenged. At this time, Wan Qing said calmly, "As a teacher, I will put pressure on you that belongs to the realm of transcendence. You must not move around. If my teacher is disturbed in any way because of you, this punishment will not be counted as something you have endured." After hearing this, he looked at the beautiful legs in front of him. Because he was so close, Suliang could even vaguely see Wan Qing's own pearly, fair, and smooth skin under the black silk stockings. At this moment, Suliang felt a headache. He really didn't feel any pressure or not. On the contrary, he always felt that the master's beautiful black stocking legs were rubbing against him intentionally or unintentionally. This feeling is really good, but it is also really hard to bear. Sure enough, it was worthy of the punishment from master. It really tested the Taoist heart. I don't know how long it took, but Wan Qing finally lowered her legs. Seeing this, Suliang breathed a sigh of relief. With great difficulty, I finally passed the test. Okay, I'll count you as passing this first item. Wan Qing said calmly again, as for the second item, I've seen it. Just come and comb my hair. Comb your hair? Suliang blinked and thought that the etiquette of this apprenticeship was so weird, wasn't it? Why is there still someone combing master's hair? However, Suliang did not refute. Instead, he saluted respectfully. After agreeing, he came behind Wan Qing and held up her hair with both hands. Wan Qing has long purple hair, which is soft and silky, with a natural fragrance unique to Yuja, which is refreshing and unforgettable. I have to say that with this beautiful hair and blue silk hair, even if you compare it with your girlfriend and sister, you can't compare to it, right? After sighing with emotion, Suliang began to comb Wan Qing's hair. Among the purple hair, Suliang flew with his hands, moving quickly and skillfully. This was a skill he had only developed after combing his girlfriend and sister countless times. Feeling the familiar yet extremely unfamiliar feeling between her hair, Suliang's skillful technique, carefulness did not make Wan Qing feel any discomfort. At this moment, Wan Qing felt warm in her heart. This familiar feeling, I haven't had it for an unknown amount of time. Fortunately, he was found again. Yeah, very good. After finishing combing her hair, Wan Qing nodded with satisfaction, took out something and threw it to Suliang. It's hard for you to satisfy my teacher so much. This thing can be regarded as a reward for you. Suliang took it, took a look, and almost gasped. This thing. It is a spiritual treasure in the shape of a jade pendant. If you sense it carefully, you can roughly determine that it contains means to withstand the enemy's defense. Looking at the entire Tiandao sect, there aren't necessarily many things of this level and quality, right? What is given at any time is a spiritual treasure. This cheap master like me is really too generous. While Suliang was still playing with the spiritual treasure in his hand, Wan Qing continued, "This last item is not difficult at all." After hearing this, Suliang immediately put away the spiritual treasure and said respectfully, "Master, please show me." That is. Wan Qing paused for a moment before saying, "You have to throw yourself into my master's arms and act like a spoiled brat. After all, as a disciple, you have to make your master happy in the future. This time, just use the excuse of asking for help from my teacher and act coquettishly." Her words were spoken with confidence, as if they were exactly what she said, so perfectly justified. But whose female master wants male disciples to throw themselves into her arms and act coquettishly? This is not a serious reason at all. Looking at the serious Wan Qing, Suliang felt that there were too many flaws in this item. For a moment, he didn't know where to start. The master in front of him and the elder sister he met before are not the same person at all. Does such a mysterious and powerful big sister actually want her disciple to act coquettishly? Thinking in his heart, Suliang didn't want to agree. However, Looking at the master's gaze towards him, that gaze was too cold. It seemed that there was a lot of dissatisfaction in it, and Suliang was not given the right or opportunity to refuse at all. Seeing this, Suliang had no choice but to take a few steps forward, planning to rush into Wan Qing's arms, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't make up his mind. "Oh, master, can I still let you run away? Today, you have to do it even if you don't do it." Wan Qing smiled coldly in her heart, her true energy surged, and she actually pulled Suliang closer to her arms. This time, Suliang was forced to enjoy the benefits of his master. Being held in Wan Qing's arms, enjoying the softness and heat in her arms, like a piece of fragrant and warm jade in her arms, the pair of proud peaks were right in front of Suliang, pressing on Suliang's body, giving Suliang a great sense of oppression. Feeling the size of his master, Suliang looked a little strange. "My cheap master seems to be much more amazing than my sister?" Just when Suliang marveled at Wan Qing's huge scale, Wan Qing, who was rather evil-minded, was also enjoying it at the moment. Holding Suliang tightly, Wan Qing couldn't help but smile as she felt that there had been some changes, yet it was such a familiar warm embrace. "I haven't felt this way for a long time. This time, I will never let you go. I want you to pay back all the indifference master showed to me thousands of years ago." Thinking in her heart, Wan Qing hugged Suliang as if enjoying herself, and rubbed her head quietly in Suliang's arms. Suliang, who had no idea that he was already on the receiving end of a gun, felt exhausted both physically and mentally as he held his master in his arms. Suliang sighed while putting on makeup and acting coquettishly with his master. "This is not a master at all, but a torturing goblin. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator." Author, Fangzone Womang. Chapter 158. Which master can do such a thing with his disciple? You said you want to educate me on the etiquette of becoming a disciple. I think you are basically trying to make me unstable, master. I don't know how long it took, but Suliang finally passed the so-called apprenticeship ceremony and got some opportunities to rest. And just when he was resting aside with lingering fear. Congratulations to the host, for completing the mission and successfully finding the third simulation object. The current binding object is Liasu Wanking. Because the host has completed its mission, the third simulation begins again. System, Suliang only felt that his eyelids were extremely heavy, and slowly, endless darkness enveloped him, swallowing Suliang completely. Ever since True Lord Liasu accepted the young girl Wan Qing as his disciple and taught her carefully, 5 years have passed by in a hurry. In 5 years, the ignorant, clingy girl with a secret crush on her master has grown into a peerless royal sister. With that purple hair shawl, Yuji's beautiful face is a little less playful and more calm. The arrogance, holiness, and charm have already begun to appear on this beautiful face, but they are perfectly integrated and add color. Phew. Wrapped in a palace skirt, she has a slender figure, a pair of proud peaks are beginning to take shape, her slender jade legs are eye-catching, and her jade feet are small and cute. Just standing there, Wan Qing is a peerless beauty, a fairy. Undoubtedly. Not only her appearance, but her cultivation has also improved by leaps and bounds. Her progress is terrifying, and she is quite famous among the younger generation. Qiantang River. At this moment, it was pouring rain from the sky, and hazy mist rose from the sky, blocking the view. But in the Qiantang River, there were rolling waves and undercurrents. From time to time, huge waves surged up, seeming to wash ashore and destroy everything. It is clearly visible that in the river, there is a ferocious and terrifying dragon. It is constantly hovering, swimming, and stirring the river, as if it wants to cause harm to the world. Then, on the banks of the Qiantang River, the people fled in a hurry to avoid the disaster, not daring to approach for fear of being swept in. After learning the news about the dragon, many Taoists and saints gathered here, but they were also overwhelmed by the power of the dragon and could not get close, so they could only take a look from a distance. And this time. But there is a peerless purple figure of the royal sister, holding a long sword, standing on the bank of the Qiantang River, looking down at the dragon in the river, with a cold and arrogant expression. This person is from the late Qing dynasty. You dragon, it's not easy for you to cultivate to such an extent. You just don't want to live a good life and practice. You actually dare to stir up the storm and try to cause harm to one party. Today, Wan Qing, a disciple of true Lord Liasu, came here to kill you, the evil dragon, on the orders of Master. With a soft drink, Wan Qing tapped her toes, jumped over, and slashed into the river with a sword. Roar! Aroused by the power of this sword, the dragon roared, rose from the river water, and headed towards Wanking to attack Wanking. In an instant, one man and one dragon were fighting together. In an instant, the wind and clouds changed color, the river surged, and the two men fought so hard that even the thunder clouds were dispersed. Not long after, Xiaolong died. Wan Qing cut off the dragon's head with a knife and fell to the ground. Moment. The people watching all knelt down in the rain, and all the people worshipped, "We thank the fairy for slaying the evil dragon for us and saving our lives. The fairy is so kind and kind, we will never forget it." Seeing this kind of scene and this kind of prestige, all the saints and saints of Taoism who were watching around were beyond their reach and could only sigh in admiration. After all, no matter their strength, cultivation, appearance, or talents, they are all inferior to Fairy Wanking. Killing the evil dragon is Wan Qing's job. Wan Qing said with some coolness, "Now that the evil dragon has been eliminated, Wan Qing will leave." After that, he used his body skills and jumped away. Then, from the beginning of this battle, the name of Wan Qing Leng Ao Fairy was achieved and spread throughout the world. At the same time, true Lord Liasu watched from high in the sky and saw his apprentice kill the dragon and leave calmly. He nodded with satisfaction and was filled with joy in his heart. This girl is not bad, very good, and she has lived up to her 5 years of teaching as a teacher. But no one expected that the cold fairy Wan Qing, who was admired and admired by countless people, would show a completely different side only when facing her master. 5 years have passed, and Wan Qing, instead of restraining her feelings for her master, has become even more clingy. "Master, master." Seeing true Lord Liasu coming towards her, Wan Qing happily greeted her, immediately hugged her master, and hugged her tightly. "Master, master." Seeing his disciple's appearance, true Lord Liasu shook his head as if he was used to it, and touched his disciple's head without saying anything. "After all, my disciple has been like this for a long time. He usually puts stickers on when greeting him. After such a long time, Liasu Zhenjun has long been used to it." Early morning. True Lord Liasu woke up and just opened his eyes when he felt a soft and pink feeling wrap around his lips. When he opened his eyes, he saw that he was indeed his apprentice. "Master, you are awake." Wan Qing hugged Master happily. "The good morning kiss you just received is a daily one. Master, you won't refuse, right?" You. After patting her apprentice on the head, Liasu Wanking didn't know what to say. "As a disciple, I have done this behavior countless times. Zhenjun Liasu can't stop him at all. What can I do?" At this time, I heard Wan Qing say, "It's just a small thing like a good morning kiss. It's the right thing to serve Master, isn't it? As Master, it is my duty to take care of Master's daily life, even." At this point, Wan Qing came closer to true Lord Liasu and said in a charming voice, "Even if it's Master's needs, it's okay." Between what she said, she obviously regarded herself as her master's wife. This is already a clear pursuit of Master, without even a trace of cover-up. Volume 1 #Chapter 150 The wedding dress is like a fire burning the sky, I will caress the peach blossoms for you. To this, true Lord Liasu could only sigh. He knew that his apprentice not only said that, but also really did it. Not only did he take good care of his daily life, but he also dragged his apprentice out of his bed who wanted to do evil things countless times at night. During these 5 years, Wan Qing, the peerless imperial sister, decisively transformed into a little devil, and performed all kinds of unsolicited operations for free, which made the master Liasu Zhenjun feel extremely overwhelmed. But this kind of life came to an abrupt end one day. That day, the girl who had been by his side all year round left without saying goodbye. Until the afternoon, Liasu Zhenjun could not wait for the familiar figure and the clinging voice. When he pushed away the girl's boudoir, there was only a brief letter left inside. Go out and find the elixir of immortality for yourself. Traitor. True monarch Liasu's face, which had always been cold, now changed slightly due to extreme anger. Obviously, the biggest secret he hid was finally discovered by Wan Qing. And it took a long time to find out, but in the end it was me who was kept secret? How ridiculous. True Lord Liasu couldn't help but laugh at himself, and immediately began to analyze the goals of this silly apprentice with blazing eyes. Looking around the world, there are only a handful of forces that can possess the elixir of immortality. If she chooses to leave at this moment, it means that she must have a goal. Are you going to do something stupid? When I catch you this time, let's see if I don't beat your ass. As soon as he finished speaking, the figure of true Lord Liasu quietly disappeared from the spot. In a long-lived family. In a spacious and luxurious room, the peerless royal sister was dressed in a fiery red wedding dress, with purple hair tied up all over her head. The wedding dress was splendid and the hair accessories were complicated. She looked elegant and peerless. The maids who were doing Wan Qing's makeup beside her couldn't help but praise her. Ah, the young lady is so graceful and beautiful. When she puts on this wedding dress, she will be like a fairy. Your son is so lucky. Yes, yes, I have only seen this young lady be so graceful and graceful. I have only seen her this once in my life. I am really envious of her. Listening to the praises of the maids, this peerless imperial sister sat in front of the mirror, just looking at herself in the mirror without saying a word. This peerless imperial sister is none other than Wan Qing, who left true Lord Liasu. At this moment, Wan Qing is dressed in wedding clothes and in a family of longevity. She looks like she is going to marry into a family of longevity and become a young mistress. However, Sister Yu's beautiful eyes were full of annoyance. Apparently reluctantly. In fact, she couldn't even move now, as if she was being controlled. It's really a big turnover. According to rumors, in the immortal family, there is an elixir of immortality, which can have the effect of praying against the heavens and changing one's life. It can save a person from dying or being seriously injured and dying. This matter is known to many people in the world. But this kind of magic medicine is something that only the family leaders can get. Apart from the family leaders, even the most unparalleled people in the world cannot ask for it. And she happened to have saved this young master in a trial a year ago. Because of this relationship, she came to visit. Her original intention was to come to him to discuss the matter of obtaining the elixir of immortality, and the other party agreed wholeheartedly. Everything is going smooth. Unfortunately, I thought I was good enough, but I still underestimated the evil nature of the human heart. Even if it is a life-saving favor, some people will be treated as white-eyed wolves. Still promising yourself? How shameless. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 159. Fortunately, with the protection of Master, No evil thoughts can be done to me. On the eve of losing control of her body, Wan Qing also quickly sent a distress signal to her master. Wan Qing felt extremely ashamed every time she thought about how she wanted to help her master, but she still had to let him come to save her. I just hate that I am too young and too conceited. Time passed little by little, and finally, it was time for Wan Qing to get married. Among the immortal family, the gongs and drums started to sound, and the procession to welcome the bride was so long that there was almost no end in sight, and they were all experts in the world. The newlyweds have arrived, get up the sedan. With a clear shout, the wedding sedan was lifted up. Surrounded by a group of powerful experts, the wedding sedan quickly headed towards the Changsheng family. And at the same time as the wedding was taking place, on the horizon, in the forest of 3,000 peach blossoms, under the colorful peach blossoms, there is a figure walking in the air. Wherever the figure passes, peach blossoms are flying under the feet, turning into a long bridge of thousands of miles, pointing directly to the wedding scene. The figure stepped on the peach blossoms, as if stepping on solid ground. With a tap of its toes, it flew dozens of miles away, walking firmly towards the lively celebration at the end of the flower bridge. In just a moment, the wedding sedan arrived, and the fiery red wedding dress stepped off the sedan. Her steps were gentle, but her face was expressionless, as if she was being manipulated. The eldest son of the Changsheng family came forward and said in a seemingly gentle manner, "Wan Qing, let's go, let's get married." But right now, peach blossoms were floating down all over the sky, like a dream, like blessings falling from the sky, but a vision came, which immediately attracted everyone's attention. On the eve of the wedding, a vision came from the sky, and peach blossoms fell from the sky. If auspiciousness came to the world, its beauty would be unstoppable. Certainly. Naturally, all the immortal cultivators would not believe in the so-called auspiciousness, but the beautiful sight of peach blossoms falling from the sky made everyone aware of it immediately. Looking at the peach blossoms all over the sky, everyone exclaimed, "Hey, the peach blossoms are falling from the sky. They are so beautiful." It seems that these peach blossoms also want to celebrate the arrival of this beautiful marriage. Oh, on such a happy day, with such auspiciousness coming to the world, the marriage between the prince and the eldest grandma will definitely be harmonious and happy in the future. It seems that in the future, there will be another pair of enviable immortals and Taoists in this world. Yes. And just when everyone was marveling, looking at the peach blossoms in the sky, Wan Qing was the only one whose delicate body trembled slightly. The next moment, a figure, with peach blossoms on its feet, flew from a distance. Against the backdrop of the peach blossoms in the sky, it floated onto the stage and landed on the ground. This person is none other than true Lord Liasu. This time, everyone's eyes were all fixed on true Lord Liasu, with different expressions. They naturally knew about the master-disciple relationship between Wan Qing and Liasu Zhenjun. It stands to reason that when the apprentice gets married, the master comes to celebrate. But looking at true Lord Liasu's always cold face, no matter how he looked at it, it didn't look like he was coming to celebrate. Ignoring everyone, true Lord Liasu looked in the direction of the heir apparent of the Changsheng family and his disciple, with a slight coldness in his voice, "I haven't agreed to this marriage yet. What's more, if you dare to kidnap my disciple, you really deserve to die." Wow! One sentence, like igniting gunpowder, made everyone in the Changsheng family change their expressions. They looked at true Lord Liasu with indescribably ugly expressions. Even the guests who came here looked at true Lord Liasu with a slightly strange look after hearing this. Kidnapping. Is it possible that adults don't do this voluntarily? How can a dignified longevity family do such a thing? Could it be that there is another hidden secret in this? Just when everyone was speculating, the eldest son of the Changsheng family suddenly chuckled twice, took a step forward and said, "Junior, I pay my respects to the true king." Since the true king is the master I invited, he is also my master. In this case, my son-in-law is here and has met the master. Today is the wedding of Wanqing and I. It's rare for master to come to celebrate, so please invite master to take a seat. However, Liu Zhenjun ignored the prince's words and just said coldly, "You are not worthy of her." As soon as these words came out, even the crown prince's expression changed upon hearing this, and his face turned blue and white, which was very ugly. Zhenjun Liu. Gritting his teeth, the prince angrily spoke and turned his face decisively, "I think you are Wanqing's master, so I am very polite to you. Do you really think that with your strength, you can run wild in my Changsheng family? Who do you think you are?" After hearing this, true Lord Liu didn't react yet, he just raised his hand and pulled his disciple who was not far away into his arms. With a gentle touch of her palm, the girl's eyes regained their luster in an instant. "Master! Shut up, I'll settle the debt with you when I get back." "Say it." "Kidnapping my disciple." True Lord Liu had a cold face, but his voice was extremely calm. "Even if you are the heir apparent of the immortal family, do you think I am afraid of your immortal family?" The words fell. With one hand stretched out, Liu Zhenjun just faced the direction of the prince and patted it from a distance. Boom! A roaring sound sounded, and everyone looked in surprise, only to see that the prince was suppressed by true Lord Liu with just one hand, and his body was completely destroyed on the spot, and he became a useless person. The cold master protects his wife with arrogance. Immediately, regardless of the prince, true Lord Liu would greet his disciples to leave. "Okay, Wanqing, let's go." He came to the supreme family, disrupted the wedding, and single-handedly suppressed the family's heir apparent. At this moment, true monarch Liu, even though he only spoke a few words, he was so domineering that it was jaw-dropping. And just then, the head of the Changsheng family finally couldn't stand it any longer, stood up, leaped forward, and stopped in front of true Lord Liu and Wanqing. "Zhenjun Liu." The head of the family reprimanded in a deep voice, "No matter whether my son did something right or wrong today, it's not your turn to punish him. Besides, my Changsheng family is a place where you can come if you want to. Now that the matter is done, you should stay and make amends to my son. Say it." He suddenly took action and punched towards true Lord Liu. True Lord Liu blocked the move with ease, took a step back, and said calmly, "I am only going to hold one person accountable today, and I don't want to commit any more murders." When he spoke one sentence, true Lord Liu's voice was calm, but he showed his domineering tone. Not killing people does not mean not being able to kill people. If your immortal family continues to get entangled, don't blame me for being ruthless. Although there was no such intention in the words, the domineering tone made these words appear in everyone's mind. "Humph, arrogant." The head of the family snorted coldly, raised his arms and shouted, "Everyone, please help me to kill this officer." "Yes." A group of masters from the Changsheng family agreed, and immediately took action, together with the family master, to besiege true Lord Liu. "If there are more people, it will be useful." True Lord Liu said softly, "The so-called Supreme Family is nothing more than this." Volume 1 Chapter 151 Life is over and death is on the way. Not killing people does not mean not being able to kill people. If your immortal family continues to get entangled, don't blame me for being ruthless. Although there was no such intention in the words, the domineering tone made these words appear in everyone's mind. "Humph, arrogant." The head of the family snorted coldly, raised his arms and shouted, "Everyone, please help me to kill this officer." "Yes." A group of masters from the Changsheng family agreed, and immediately took action, together with the family master, to besiege true Lord Liu. "If there are more people, it will be useful." True Lord Liu said softly, "The so-called Supreme Family is nothing more than this." The words have fallen. Suddenly, a peach blossom fell from the sky, and was picked up by Liasu Genjun to use it as a sword. Immediately afterwards, I heard Lord Liasu chant softly, "After I bloom, hundreds of flowers will be killed. Use the peach blossom as a sword and strike out with one sword." Moment. The peach blossoms were flying and gathering all over the sky, flying and sweeping like a strong wind. The surging vitality rushed out, like a wave covering it. In an instant, they crushed all the powerful giants from the Changsheng family present. Puff. Everyone vomited blood, flew out, and fell to the ground. The onlookers were horrified to see this scene. One sword can actually crush all the masters from the Changsheng family. This strength, this cultivation level, is too unbelievable. Where did such a monster come from? Watching her master display his unique skills, Wan Qing, who was hiding behind her to watch the battle, fell into reminiscing. In her mind, the interesting scenes of fighting with her master in the past appeared in her mind one by one. "Master, master, tell me, is the scene in this book about the peach blossoms blooming for you in the world and my sword coming for you true?" Wan Qing held up a book and asked her master excitedly. What she just described was exactly the scene she saw in the book. For those with advanced cultivation, there will be no problem if they can achieve this step. Without even looking at the book, true Lord Liasu said calmly. "What's the point of doing this kind of romantic scene yourself?" Wan Qing shook her head, but there was a hint of longing in her beautiful eyes. "The scenes described in the book are so good. I am so envious and want them so much. I don't know when will someone do this for me." As she spoke, Wan Qing frequently looked at her master, obviously meaning something. To this, true Lord Liasu just rolled his eyes and decisively ignored his disciple's words. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens. Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womang. Chapter 160. When she came back to her senses, she looked at the sky full of peach blossoms flying in front of her eyes. Wan Qing's beautiful eyes were full of color. The scene I had longed for in the past was now in my sight. Moreover, it was my favorite master who did it because of me. Sure enough, I like master the most. But just when Wan Qing was stunned and delighted, the Changsheng family made new moves. Seeing that the entire family's top officials were unable to take down the tassel true monarch, the head of the family gritted his teeth and said loudly, "Today, a powerful enemy invaded our immortal family and insulted the reputation of our immortal family. I asked our ancestors to take action. Get rid of this official. Oh, you can't even take down a mere thief. How dare you still be the head and elder of my immortal family?" An old voice suddenly came from the hinterland of the Changsheng family. Immediately afterwards, a figure appeared in the sky. In a few flashes, it actually arrived in front of everyone. Ancestor. Seeing this person, the head of the family immediately stood up with a group of senior officials and knelt down to salute. "What happened today, I will punish you later." The ancestor of the Changsheng family said lightly, and then looked at true Lord Liasu and suddenly laughed. "Oh, little baby, you are so brave. You dare to invade my Changsheng family and injure everyone in my Changsheng family alone. The senior management, today, I'm going to leave you alone. Safely take your life. Say it." With a punch from afar, he blasted towards true Lord Liasu. This moment, the expressions of everyone present changed dramatically. In this ordinary punch, they felt an extremely strong sense of destruction. Can't stop it at all. Even if you give everything you have, you can't stop it? This idea came to everyone's mind. He is worthy of being the ancestor of the Changsheng family. If he attacks at will, it is an unparalleled terror. Not only them, but also Genjun Liasu's face became solemn for the first time. Break. With a slight shout, true Lord Liasu used the peach blossom as his sword and directly attacked with all his strength, fighting with his ancestor. In just a moment, the two of them had already exchanged dozens of moves. But everyone present, especially the people from the Changsheng family, were a little surprised. This true monarch Liasu fought against his ancestor, although it was only a brief confrontation, but he was not weak at all. This is too strong. However, during this brief confrontation, the ancestor noticed the condition of true Lord Liasu and said in a deep voice, "Little baby, you are not close to death, and your life is approaching. If you don't take action, you can live longer, but there is not much time left, but now that you are using it with all your strength, your life will be shortened. I tell you clearly, if you continue to fight with me, you may die on the spot." After hearing this, true Lord Liasu didn't care at all and said calmly, "So what if my lifespan is over? It's just a fight to the death." The words have fallen. True Lord Liasu's attacks actually became more powerful, and gradually, he actually fought to the point of madness. It won't take more than a moment. Crack. A crisp sound sounded. Although the sound was not loud, it directly attracted everyone's attention. I saw. Liasu Zhenjun still maintained the posture of drawing the sword, but the peach blossom branch in his hand was broken, and the real energy in it disappeared completely. Not only that, true Lord Liasu still looked calm, but his eyes were tightly closed and he had already lost his voice. Everyone watching the scene was immediately shocked. This true Lord Liasu actually fought to the end of his life? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? What a pity for his genius. And the other side. Seeing that true Lord Liasu had stopped and died, the ancestor of the Changsheng family was also secretly shocked. Just after the fight just now, the ancestor was almost unable to withstand it. And this is still his near-death state. If he were in his prime, even I can't suppress him. If so, he would really have to choose the huge immortal family by himself. Unlike their ancestor, the other members of the Changsheng family secretly breathed a sigh of relief, and then they all laughed. It's good to die, it's good to die. True Lord Liasu, if you don't die, our immortal family will be embarrassed. Then. Just listen, the head of the family shouted loudly, "Come here, cut this thief who dares to attack my Changsheng family into pieces, to vent the humiliation of my Changsheng family today." Yes. Immediately, someone took the order and stepped forward with weapons in hand, intending to cut true Lord Liasu into pieces. Volume 1 Chapter 152, Reincarnation from Death, Qing Emperor famous. See this. Wan Qing immediately rushed forward, hugged her master's body, and cried sadly, "Master, master, it's not worth it for me, I just want to save you, but, why? So. Master, can you wake up quickly? Disciple, I know I was wrong. We are going home now. We are going home now. Don't leave me, don't." As everyone from the Changsheng family gradually approached, Wan Qing turned around and glared at them, but she hugged the master's body even more tightly and said in a hateful voice, "Whoever dares to take another step forward will be killed on the spot. If anyone dares to touch my master's body, Wan Qing will never let you go even if he dies." As she spoke, Wan Qing gently touched master's face, but suddenly showed a gentle smile, and said softly, "Master, don't be afraid, Wan Qing is going to find you. The two of us will walk together in life and death, and we will never be separated again." "All right, okay." A group of people from the Changsheng family looked at each other and then at the crown prince. When they saw the crown prince glaring at them angrily and making a gesture of action, they no longer hesitated. They all swarmed up and slashed towards Wan Qing with the blades in their hands. It seems that Wan Qing and true Lord Liasu must be killed together. But right now? The ancestor suddenly looked panicked and shouted, wait a minute, no, this little baby is obviously dead, but where did this kind of life come from in his body?" In the eyes of the ancestor of the Changsheng family, the body of the dead Lord Liasu actually contains extremely huge and terrifying vitality. With such a quantity, even he felt a little scared. And the moment his voice fell, true Lord Liasu, who was supposed to be dead, suddenly opened his eyes. True Lord Liasu suddenly opened his eyes, and a strange brilliance burst out from his eyes. Moment. Whether it was Wan Qing who was protecting Master's body, or the people from the Changsheng family who came to kill True Lord Liasu into pieces, they all stopped and looked at True Lord Liasu blankly, wondering what happened. Immediately afterwards, dong, dong. A dull sound resounded in everyone's mind, like a drum beat, steady and powerful, but with a heart-stopping rhythm. At the same time, wow! A sound like a rushing river sounded at the same time, and the rapids were turbulent and rushing wantonly. Gradually, everyone present was horrified to find that their own heartbeats and the flow of blood in their bodies were all coincident with these two voices, and they were in sync with each other. Even they themselves could not control it. This is... The ancestor of the Changsheng family shouted in panic. This little kid actually realized enlightenment during the battle. Is he about to break through the death barrier? As if to confirm the ancestor's words, as soon as the words were finished, the body of true Lord Liasu was bursting with light, as if all the lead was washed away. In the glimmering light, true Lord Liasu completely transformed and sublimated. Quick, hurry up, kill him before he recovers. The ancestor of the Changsheng family hurriedly shouted that he had never seen such a scene, but he could faintly feel that something in the body of true Lord Liasu seemed to be awakening and transforming. He knew very well that if he didn't organize it in time, everything would be ruined. Hearing the voice of their ancestor, the people of the immortal family were stunned for a moment, and then they decisively held their weapons and attacked true Lord Liasu. See this. Wan Qing immediately made preparations and planned to fight to the death. She would never let them encounter their master. But right now, boom! An extremely powerful wave suddenly emerged from the body of true Lord Liasu, and in an instant, all the people from the immortal family were knocked away. But Wan Qing, who was holding him tightly and so close, was not hurt at all. Just when Wan Qing was confused, she felt a familiar big hand cover her head and said calmly, "I'm sorry, Wan Qing, I made you worry." The moment she heard this voice, Wan Qing's body suddenly froze. Immediately, as if he couldn't believe it, he slowly turned his head and saw at a glance that the master who had returned the dead body before was now looking at him with gentle eyes and a faint smile on his face. At this moment, everyone present was extremely horrified. Enlightenment in battle, breaking through the barrier of death, turning death into life. Is this true Lord Liasu, the son of destiny? Otherwise, why would there be such terrifying luck, and understanding? Teacher, master. Wan Qing stretched out her hand tremblingly and touched her master's face. Tears flowed out uncontrollably, and even her voice was trembling. It's a teacher. True Lord Liasu regained his composure, patted his disciple's head, and then turned to look at the ancestor with a calm voice. Today is my fault. I don't kill people. However, you stopped our master and disciple from leaving. Many times he wants to put me and my disciple to death, but I have to avenge this kind of hatred. Say it. True Lord Liasu suddenly opened his hand, and a peach blossom fell from the sky and fell into his hand. This is my most powerful skill. People from the immortal family can take up this trick from me. As he spoke, true monarch Liasu used a peach blossom branch as a sword and slowly stabbed the ancestor, softly chanting, "Excellent knowledge, if I were the Qing emperor in his time." The words have fallen. A huge phantom of the Azure Emperor appeared behind true monarch Liasu, carrying great power and pressure. Just a glance at it would make people feel breathless. And as true Lord Liasu thrust out his sword, the huge phantom of the Qing emperor also thrust out a shocking sword.